Shush! It's time for The Shelf. Whangarei District Libraries Radio on Beagle Radio. Oh! Shh!
Testing. How does my sound?
Sounds good to me.
So let's start properly. Kia ora koto ki The Shelf. Ko Andy toku ingoa.
Ko Karlie toku ingoa. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1.
Thank you for joining us.
And this is our first December episode. We wrapped up Movember last week, and what an interesting month that was for us mustache growers.
Yeah, I think the boys at the library had a real fun time. Maybe a little bit of an itchy time.
A bit of an itchy time, yes. I grew, well, I was hoping for something that looked a bit like Tom Selleck, but I ended up with more of a horseshoe shape. But that's okay, right? It kind of felt like having a presence on my face that got in my food and felt like I had food on my face constantly. But it was all for charity. We raised $300. The participants were Ben, Tony, and Glenn, and myself. So we had, I think, a great time doing it. And, we've just got a guest joining. She will have a segment with us later. The first thing that I'd like to talk about today is a part of the collection that I think does not get enough credit. It does not get the credit that it deserves. And that is, of course, the graphic novel collection.
Oh, yes, I'm very excited to hear your recommendations.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about them because, I've been wanting to do this for some time. I'll just start by saying that you must remember that graphic novels are a format and not a genre. So, by format, I mean audiobooks, print books, graphic novels. It is a style, not a genre. Graphic novels contain as many different genres and topics as any other literary format. On our shelves, we have the usual superhero, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. But graphic novels can also be detective and crime stories, historic fiction, and nonfiction, too. And that's what I want to focus on. During my librarianship studies, I read academic research papers that asserted, with evidence, that reading graphic novels requires the same amount of effort and literacy as a traditional novel.
I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it too. Graphic novels are often dismissed, however, by members of the public, teachers, and even information professionals as being childish and just not a legitimate art form. Some say it doesn't even count as reading. But these people have probably never read one. They don't know what they're talking about. I am speaking today in defense of graphic novels, focusing on nonfiction graphic novels. The best entry point for beginners that I can recommend is Hostage. It's written by Guy Delisle, and that's spelled D-E-L-I-S-L. And it's translated from French, I believe. Hostage tells the true story of a Doctors Without Borders administrator who was kidnapped by terrorists and held hostage in Chechnya in 1997. So I was 12 then. And this is a simply drawn but highly suspenseful graphic novel. One of the first that I read from our collection in Whangarei. The art is simple, but there are some significant details in the pictures that help the story move forward. For example, you notice that his appearance becomes gradually worse. And it works brilliantly. And you are really able to feel the man's pain, confusion, and helplessness as he is held hostage by terrorists, but he doesn't even know what they want, and you don't know either. The reader doesn't know anything, just like him. The next one that I want to talk about is called Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is an autobiography, a memoir by Craig Thompson based on his childhood, and it hit close to home for me. It's about a young boy who becomes a man, and in a very sheltered home and community. It's also a romance, but it's not contrived or sappy, and it even reminds me of my own first girlfriend.
Aww.
Yes, I had a girlfriend out of town. Nobody believed me, but she was real, I promise.
Sure, Andy.
It also reminds me of how the innocence, delights, and imagination of childhood and adolescence face the derision of the adult world. Much of Blankets is about the narrator and author's repressive religious upbringing. The art in this book is absolutely beautiful, and I should warn you, the depictions of child abuse are especially upsetting. It shows that you can feel empathy for the characters in a comic, just the same as Hostage. So yes, that one is called Blankets, and we have it in our collection too. Next is Persepolis, and yes, it is a movie too. It was written by Marjane Satrapi, and I am so sorry if I mispronounced that. It is an autobiographical memoir. It tells the story of a young girl growing up in Iran before the Islamic Revolution in 1979, and then what her life was like afterwards. And like I said, it also became a movie maybe 20 years ago. The book Persepolis gives a little bit of background knowledge about the context of the Islamic Revolution, and I found some of it to be, well, oddly humorous since it is told from the point of view of a child. The humor does not last. That was Persepolis. The next one I want to recommend is quite different from the others. It's called Commute. It's by Aaron Williams, and it's much more avant-garde and experimental. It's like an indie film with a voiceover. It reads like the author's personal diary, which she's also drawn in. And the images are quite graphic, and her struggles are very relatable, as she is taking long commutes on the metro in, I believe it's New York City. I discovered this book by accident on the shelf, and that's why you must discover things on accident in libraries. Next is a special mention, and I have to admit that I haven't read it. It's Mouse. That's spelled M-A-U-S. I haven't read it yet, but I know that it is about the author, Art Spiegelman, interviewing his father about his experience during the Holocaust. His father was a Holocaust survivor. Mouse has been subject to many book bans in the United States last year, and these book ban attempts led to skyrocketing sales. The book became a bestseller because a small group of extremists tried to ban it. So I'm going to read Mouse as a protest, and I'm against banning books. Well, there you have it. Graphic novels are a legitimate art form, and they must not be dismissed outright. As you heard, the above graphic novels are nonfiction, and they're all quite different. So please try reading a graphic novel. You can even try a nonfiction one listed above. I mentioned Blankets, Hostage, Persepolis, Commute, and Mouse. They're all one word.
Yeah, that's
One word
interesting.
each.
How I wonder if that's a trend in graphic novels that
It's
a lot of them
memorable.
have one word. Yeah.
And there are some brilliant artists and writers collaborating to create them.
Thank
Check
you
it
so
out.
much, Andy. Those are great
course.
recommendations, and I must admit that I haven't really read that many graphic novels in my life, but I'm excited to maybe start with this list.
Oh, definitely. I'll make sure to pass it along to you. And our first song is by a local band called Ardija. I can't say it with the Kiwi accent, but
Adija?
Ardija. The song is called Watching You, and I saw Ardija perform at the Opanoni Tavern about 3 years ago, and it was a great show.
Awesome.
So much energy.
Oh, lucky you. Let's give it a listen.
And we're back. You are listening to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. And that last song was Watching You by Ardija.
That was an awesome song choice, Andy. That was really enjoyable. We're lucky to be joined in the studio with, by Olivia from Creative Northland. She's going to tell us all about the mahi that her organisation does, and I guess we'll get right into it, shall we? Hi, Olivia.
Kia ora everyone, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So I guess an easy question to get started. What's your role at Creative Northland?
Really interesting one, I guess. To start off with, I'm the newly appointed General Manager, which is just an awesome role to have. But in general, I am a connector, a relationship manager across Te Tai Tokerau, and just a massive advocate for creativity and innovation within the sector.
Oh, that's awesome.
And just in your words, what is it that Creative Northland does?
In a nutshell, we are here to connect, empower and grow the creative heritage and cultural sector across Te Tai Tokerau. So you can imagine that's quite a large geographical terrain that we need to cover.
Oh, cool. And do you happen to have any favourite events from this past year?
Oh, this has probably been my first year where I've really delved out. Experienced a few festivals for the first time, or multi-day festivals, where I wasn't in my work kind of mode. And they were the Art Beat, WOMAD, seeing what else happens outside the region, which was fantastic, and also seeing Karugabin, who's an amazing band that was at Spark Arena earlier in the year.
Oh, wow.
So, yes.
I think we collabed with you guys at Artbeat. That was a really fun day. Really hot day, but fun day.
And Plunge Comics.
Yes, and Plunge, and we did AMP as well just over the weekend, which was fantastic.
Oh, cool.
So for us, it's really awesome to be able to connect with like-minded souls, and it covers so many different disciplines, doesn't it? I mean, AMP, we're really getting into the grassroots of our community.
Good. And who has access to Creative Northland? Members of the public?
Anyone.
Okay.
Even if you're outside of the region, we often get calls and saying, hey, what are the venues we need to go to if we're coming up here? Where's the new funding pools that we can get access to? Who's our key contact for this school or this organisation? And so we get pulled in very many directions, and it's just so amazing to create capability and capacity for whoever we're in touch with.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys do such amazing work. Can you maybe explain to us the importance of creativity?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm speaking here, but also on behalf of my team. So I have an epic team behind me, and we're all just in this together with the same goals to empower creativity within the sector. So I guess the importance of creativity, I mean, we're all born creatives, right? Mm-hmm. There's just some part of us that maybe we get educated out of it along the way. And it's like, we're in this age now, change of government, new direction, I guess, and new focus points, and it's all about, okay, what about innovation? And you can't have innovation without creativity. So how can we re-stimulate that within our communities on all levels to help be the leading space for innovation in the future?
Okay. Curious, what were your favourite events this year?
So going back to as I mentioned, Karugabin probably was a highlight, and that was just post-COVID, but definitely, I think WOMAD, we had a lot of our creators from up in Te Tai Tokerau heading down there and exhibiting, and it was just amazing, the recognition across singing, sculpture, craft that they all got, and it's, we're well scattered across New Zealand and doing exceptionally well, so it's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. And is there anything in the pipeline for next year that maybe could keep an eye out for?
Well, I'd like to do a bit of a plug for Artbeat. It's heading into its 27th year, which is just incredible.
27.
And due to the changes happening at Kefla Park, it's getting renovated and a few new things. We've had to move it for the first year to the Hatia precinct, which is going to be really interesting. So that's 1.5 kilometres, I think, of activation that we're actually looking at delivering at the moment. So we're in the midst of it, but I'd like to do a plug where there is for offer here, talk to the team or the website or online to win the Ultimate Arts weekend getaway worth over $800. Won a 2-night stay for 4 people in Whangarei on the weekend of Artbeat. There's a family pass to the Huntavasa, $200 dining voucher for the key number 8 or loco, and a round of coffees or ice creams from New Zealand Fudge Farm, and it's only for $5. That's our raffle prize.
Wow.
And it's going to be drawn 1st of February, so definitely get in if you like the sound of all those things. So, and that's on the 24th of February. So put that in the calendar, everyone.
Will do. That sounds amazing. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I quite liked Artbeat last year. I made so many of those badges, some for myself,
Don't get
too.
me going. I love the badges. It's like my
Badges.
favourite pastime.
Yeah, I made a very awkward close-up of Taylor Swift. My partner thought it was quite funny.
Oh, cool. I think I also made a Taylor Swift badge on the day.
It's hard to describe on the radio.
Is that from the teen magazine that was there?
I think so, yeah.
I love the Where's Wally books that are there, because that's always a good badge kind of plug, isn't it?
Yeah, and the kids love the animal magazines as well to cut up and make little puppy badges or kitten badges.
So good. So the badges will definitely be there for February the 24th.
I think, we can probably
likely,
safely assume that they'll be there,
Probably
as well as some crafts.
Some old manga comics, too. Those are always a big deal.
Cool. And thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to speak about Creative Northland, or?
Just thanks so much for having me, and I think creativity is such an important part and integral to our communities. So I think it's if we start raising the level of creativity that we have around and the importance of it, especially for our wairua and also well-being in general, it's just, key.
Totally, I totally agree, and we're really happy to always work with you at the library and collaborate with you on various projects. So
Thanks so much
again for coming.
Thank you. Okay, I was wondering, Olivia, do you have a song you would like to request?
Oh my God.
Anything at all?
No pressure.
David Gray, Please Forgive Me.
Okay,
It's an
firing
oldie, but one of my favourites. I love I'm not that musical, but I love the change of beats within it takes you on a real journey, and I think he's just so talented in how he puts his music together.
Okay, let's give it a spin.
Well, thank you, Olivia. That was Please Forgive Me by David Gray.
What a great song choice. And we found out she's a muso, so
yes.
she has all the music knowledge. So hopefully we'll get more recommendations from her in the future.
She'll fit in right around here, definitely.
Definitely.
And you are listening to The Shelf, a radio show for Whangarei District Libraries on Beagle Radio 88.1.
And don't forget, you can listen to the podcast version on our YouTube up and sometime during this week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no. And I think Andy's going to talk a little bit about something that's relevant to the library, but also to wider society, and that's misinformation and disinformation.
That is correct. And I have here the dictionary definitions of the two, because I think that's important to understand. This is from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Misinformation, noun, incorrect or misleading information. Disinformation, noun, false information deliberately and often covertly spread, as by the planting of rumors in order to influence public opinion or obscure the truth. I think the key difference is the word deliberately in disinformation.
Could misinformation possibly be deliberate, do you think, or is it mostly unintentional, like spreading information that you found online without fact-checking? Is that more?
One definition I saw in another dictionary, I forget which one it was, but it said misinformation is, it could be either intentional or unintentional.
Oh, okay, so it can be both, but disinformation is definitely deliberate.
And one thing we are certain about is that these are not new ideas. And I would like to just talk about a framework that one can use if you would like to avoid the spread of misinformation. Oh, actually, I should maybe mention why I brought this up in the first place. But I did a very bad thing on this show a few months ago. I made a comment about Baby Huey, the singer from the early 70s, and it is an example of misinformation. I said something incorrect about him, and I actually, I didn't realize it. I stated that he was at the Woodstock Music Festival. I looked at the lineup of Woodstock, and I did not see his name. So there is an example of misinformation. Perhaps I saw a picture of him at an outdoor concert, and I just, silly me, I assumed it was Woodstock. So that's why we brought it up. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a great example, though, how easily it could happen.
Yes, I could have easily just written that on Facebook and spread it, and people might have believed me. Of course, that's a very harmless example. There's a lot of information that people post online that could just be flat out wrong. And you must evaluate the information which you see online. And now, because you can share information, You can publish it too. Anytime you post a status, it is publishing. You have to make sure that what you, the publisher, are saying is correct. So I have a framework here called the CRAP test.
That should be an easy one to remember.
Yes. The CRAP test. C-R-A-A-P. There are two A's. So the C in CRAP stands for currency. Is this a timely piece of information? When was the information published? Has the information been revised or updated? Does the topic require current information? I'm finding a lot of times it does. And are the links functional, if you're talking about an internet link? By the way, this framework can apply to books as well, of course. The R in CRAP stands for relevance, the importance of the information for your needs. Does the information relate to your topic or answer your question? And who is the intended audience? Is it relevant to you? Is the information at an appropriate level? Is it not too elementary or advanced for your needs? And have you looked at a variety of sources before determining this is the one you will use? The A in CRAP stands for authority. Where does the source come from? Who is the author, publisher, sponsor? Sponsor could be very important. And what are the author's credentials or organizational affiliations? Was this person a doctor of physics, or was it somebody from high school with a Facebook account? And is there contact information for this author? That could be very important too if you intend to contact them. And does the URL reveal anything about the author or source? Yes, sometimes if you click on something, you will find weird things. The second A in CRAP stands for accuracy, reliability, and truthfulness, and correct of the content. Where does the information come from? Is the information supported by evidence? Has the information been reviewed or refereed? Can you verify any of the information in any other source or from personal knowledge? Does the language or tone seem unbiased and free of emotion? This is a big deal for me because I see it often. Are there spelling errors, grammar, typographical errors? I see them all the time, and they really frustrate me. And the last one is P, purpose, the reason the information exists. What is the purpose of the information? Is it to inform, teach, sell, entertain, or persuade? Do the authors make their intentions or purpose clear? Is the information fact, opinion, or propaganda? Does the point of view appear objective or impartial? Are there political, ideological, cultural, religious, institutional, or personal biases? So that is the CRAP test. Currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. I suppose, too, maybe also look at your own biases, too.
Yeah, and always keep an open and critical mind when looking at information, whether it's books or on the internet. Sometimes they can package up information quite nicely, but you got to understand, like, is there, like, as you say, is there a purpose to or a bias behind what you're reading? Definitely,
and this doesn't have to just apply to a Facebook post, but there are books published and shiny with a well-known author, and they could be an example of disinformation. They could be crap. So,
and as librarians, we can attest to that fact.
Definitely. So I'd like to move over to Karlie so we can discuss a very important issue in libraries today.
Yeah, I think your look into misinformation and disinformation kind of blends itself nicely into my next topic. It's called the digital divide, and I just wanted to bring this up because you might hear this term, the digital divide, being thrown around more and more in the news or at libraries, and it's very relevant to our sector. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight this concept, and because also I have to agree with statements being made that libraries are leaders in this respect in bridging the digital divide. Libraries bring communities together, both as busy community centres and metaphorically as we provide assistance to bridge the digital divide. So you might ask, what is it? What's the digital divide? Well, the Oxford Dictionary, to go back to the dictionary definition again.
We like dictionaries.
We do. It says the gulf between those who have ready access to computers and the internet and those who do not. And in our information sector, we tend to go one step further and say it's not just about having tech on hand and access to it, it's about having the digital literacy skills to understand how to use it or understand how to read it. For example, and Andy can attest to this, our computers in the library are in hot demand, but there's a bunch of people who need assistance using them to make email accounts, to jump on to TradeMe, to print their CVs. Correct?
Definitely.
And unfortunately, the stats show that the digital divide tends to affect Māori and Pacifica people, the elderly, and our rural communities the most. So these are the people we want to target and empower. To disenfranchise these groups because of the lack of access to information and services, it just exacerbates other problems in society.
Yeah.
So, especially because now many government and organisational forms are digital and online.
Yes.
You kind of need to have that basic digital knowledge these days. And we're seeing that more and more in the library. So for context, the data reportal and online stats website reported in early 2023 that 4.99 million Kiwis are internet users. That sounds like a lot, but it means that 213,500 people did not use the internet in 2022. That's 4.1% of Aotearoa being offline, which makes it almost impossible for them to actively participate in society.
Yeah.
So, for example, you need a RealMe account to apply for a passport online. And can you imagine being overwhelmed by making an email account, then a RealMe account, then printing the forms and scanning them back to your email and then sending them off to apply for a passport? For a computer newbie, that's too much. So I just want to talk about how libraries are helping. For one thing, we have free computer access and affordable printing services. We have free access to e-resources at home if you're a library user, and I encourage you to have a look at our range of ebooks, e-audiobooks, press reader for mags and newspapers, and research papers via our website. And librarians are always happy to help you and show you how to do this and empower yourself. Also, librarians are secretly tech wizards. Or rather, we are well practiced in answering many of your computer and printing questions as we get them 100 times a day.
Yeah, and in many different forms.
In many different forms.
Yes.
And we're always happy to help. You're also welcome to use our computers and practice on your own and just ask when you need guidance. And another thing libraries are doing, including Whangarei District Libraries, we have partnered up with Stepping Up New Zealand to help hand out skinny jump modems to our communities, specifically targeting the rural communities and impoverished communities and Māori and Pacifica people specifically. They're the target audience. The modems are free and the plan you get is very affordable at about $5 per 35 gigabytes. I would encourage those who need it to book a registration session with us, either in person or online, and just ask us about the service in general, and we're always happy to tell you.
Yes, don't be shy.
And for future reference, we're wondering how you, listeners, would like computer classes in the new year. We've run these before to great success, and then COVID, of course, got in the way. Possible subjects include setting up emails, using Google Drive, basic internet browsing, that kind of thing. So come to chat to us in person, phone us, send us an email or a Facebook message. We're here for you, after all, and learning this stuff is very empowering. Cool. And just a note that further help from WINS and CAB, particularly if you're a job seeker, is available. Librarians that you find downstairs can't always sit with you for an hour at a time, as much as we'd like to, but we're on the computer customer service desk a lot. But if you require specific help, you can always book a librarian and we'll try and give you some more in-depth help if you need it. And again, please just give us formal or casual feedback about how we can best help you. Feel free to tell us what we're doing well and what you would like to see happen in the future in regards to bridging that digital divide.
I'd like to make a comment, if I may. I have had a couple of customers ask me about some emails they got from the bank. I'm making air quotes right now when I say the bank.
I had a text from the bank the other
Yes,
day.
me too. If you get an email or a text from the bank asking for your account number, it's not actually the bank. It's a scam. They already have your number. They have your birth date. They're trying to weasel some information from you. Do not respond.
Yep, and this kind of thing is, it gets easier and easier to kind of pinpoint that kind of fake
Yes.
fake information, misinformation. The more and more you practice using digital technology, it doesn't always have to be an overwhelming, scary thing to start using computers or cell phones or e-readers, whatever it is. Just get over that first hurdle, and we're always here to help.
Most definitely.
Kia ora, welcome back everyone. That was Troy Kingi, his song All Your Ships Have Sailed.
A classic.
A classic. And you're listening to The Shelf, a Whangarei Library radio show on Beagle FM.
And we'd like to experiment with a segment that is called What's in My Bag. Basically, we just have these discoveries that we made in the library collection, things that I found from browsing. I've got a list of 5 things that I found. I'll do the intro the way that Glenn taught me. In my bag, I have Let Them Eat Chaos by Kay Tempest, formerly Kate Tempest. Well, Kate Tempest they were a rapper, and then they released some books of poetry, and Let Them Eat Chaos took me only about half an hour to read. It's just lovely poetry, and it reminded me a bit of Allen Ginsberg's Howl, a real icon for the time we live in. Next in my bag, I have a DVD called James and Izzy. And I liked this movie because a lot of the scenery was just in my backyard. Some of it was in Kawakawa, or some of it was at the Hole in the Rock, in the Bay of Islands. But James and Izzy is about a man and his mother, and she's going to turn 100. It is a documentary. It's a real beautiful slice of life. And if you live in Northland, especially the far north, you're going to say, oh, I know that place. I know that place.
Oh, that's always fun.
It'll be a very familiar movie. Next in my bag, I have an art book called Graven Images, The Art of Woodcut by John Crabb. This book was a very random find for me. It was just in the returns bin. We get that privilege.
Yeah, when we're shelving, it's sometimes very distracting
Yeah.
to find all these amazing books.
Yeah, we get first dibs. So this book, Graven Images, has pictures of woodcuts from the Middle Ages. And
Wow.
these images are strikingly detailed. Some of them are disturbing. Some of them are kind of hilarious. And they really defy your expectations of what you think you know about the time, because this is what people back then got to see.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Next in my bag, I have a novel. It's called Ham on Rye by Charles Bukowski. This is by no means an unknown book. Charles Bukowski is a very well-known author, but I had never read him. I had never thought to read Bukowski, but I found one of his books called Ham on Rye, which is loosely based on his own childhood in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. And a lot of his books are told from the point of view of an alter ego named Henry Chinaski, and he is a notorious character. He's a guy who I don't think I would want to sit down with and have a pint. I don't think I'd like him very much. But Ham on Rye is a brilliant novel. I read it last summer. And last in my bag, I have What Writers Read by Pandora Sykes. This is really just a book with different authors saying what books they have read and what they liked about them.
Oh, I love that.
It is cool because you get to... It's like a reference book. You find a book you've read, and you see what this other well-known author says about it. I'm afraid I can't remember the specific authors who said it, but they talk about The Great Gatsby in one chapter, and then they talk about a book called The Train Dream by Dennis Johnson, and that was another book I randomly found.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a delight to read what somebody else thought about the book. And it made me think perhaps I should give it a second chance. So that last one is called What Writers Read.
And that just reminded me, just because I like hearing about celebrities and writers and musicians, what kind of books they love.
Yeah.
We've got a book called Bowie's Bookshelf, and it's got
Oh,
all
really?
about his favorite books. So, yeah.
Oh, I gotta
There's a good
check
tip,
that
Andy. Okay. And I guess I can do what's in my bag too.
Indeed.
And be warned, this is a really oddball mix of a few items that I've been just inspired by at some point that I've found randomly in the library. So the first one is called Footprints on the Land by Richard Wolff. This was published last year, and it's an interesting history of how humans have impacted on the physical landscape of Aotearoa. So there's heaps of data and just a historical retrospective on New Zealand post colonization. For example, wetlands used to be 10% of New Zealand's land mass, and it's since reduced by 90% from that, which is a shame to the amazing huge lot of ecosystems that live in the wetlands, and also helps it would have helped mitigate climate change weather events. So there's that. And Oliver Jeffers picture books for all ages. I absolutely love his art and his humour. And I now follow him on TikTok, where he's given tutorials for drawing. So there's a tip. Follow him online. There's just a lot of heart in his work and a lot of big concepts, so adults and children alike can appreciate it. But I specifically love his artwork. And also Thich Nhat Hanh's books on mindfulness. Pro tip, there's audiobooks available on Libby app that he narrates. So if you're getting into mindfulness, I do recommend that one. And lastly, there's a recipe book called Jane's Patisserie. And I love flipping through physical books of recipes, especially baking ones. So if you're like me, I recommend Jane's Patisserie. I can confirm that it passes the picture test. So a lot of picture books don't have, a lot of recipe books don't have good pictures associated with the recipes, but this one does. And that's why you want in a cookbook. So that's my mix of things that I found in the library.
Yes, these are just things we discovered, and that's one thing I love about my job. I discover things all the time, and I have a daunting reading list. And
yeah, I'm sure patrons could spend hours in the library. I know I could, even working there, I can spend a long time looking at all that we have to offer. So I encourage you guys to do the same.
Definitely. And now that concludes what's in my bag.
Zip up the bags.
Next, for events. For library events, we have an interesting competition going on right now called Fiction Favorites Competition. You know that I love reading recommendations. That's what I've been doing the whole episode. So, Fiction Favorites Competition. Tell us the author of fiction novels you love to be in to win a fabulous bookish prize. A bookish prize pack in time for Christmas.
Oh, that's exciting.
You can tell us your favorite author by genre: mystery, romance, science fiction, fantasy, western, Christian-themed, New Zealand, LGBTQA+, and other genres. And to enter, pick up an entry form at any of our libraries, drop your completed entry form into the Whangarei Favorite Fiction boxes placed at all of our branches. The competition closes on the 22nd of December.
That's cool. So you get a little bit of time before the competition closes. But I imagine it's also really good to get your favourites in there, so the library or the librarians themselves know what the community wants and what they might buy in the future.
Yeah, we need your recommendations too, because I don't know everything. Well, almost everything, but not everything.
Cool. And something else that's happening in the library, very exciting, is the Lions Toy Club Appeal. This is already up. This big crate where you can put donations, toy donations in good quality, preferably new. And it stays up until Tuesday the 12th of December. So that's next week, I think. So you've got a short amount of time to bring a gift for the children that need it. So this is run by the Lions Club. We're just hosting it in the library. It's the annual toy appeal. They've been running this appeal for over 35 years, and they welcome donations of new and good quality used toys, games, bikes in good working order. So just imagine what kids would love to wake up to and open on Christmas morning, that kind of stuff. So they donate, the Lion Club donates the toys to about 15 local groups, including both women's refuges and local health trusts. And bring your toys unwrapped, preferably, and place it in the pen next to the front stairs in front of the information desk. And donations are welcome, like I said, until the next Tuesday. So that's really in the spirit of Christmas. So I encourage everyone to do just a little bit for their community, for the kids.
Definitely. And remember, we still have our JP services at Tikipunga Library on Wednesday mornings and Central Library, Whangarei Central Library on Saturday mornings. So if you need to see a Justice of the Peace, come and visit.
There they are.
I'd like to talk about a very unique event we are doing. It's called Memory Tree, Remembering Loved Ones. North Haven Hospice holds a Memory Tree event in our community every year to remember loved ones. Christmas trees are set up around Whangarei before Christmas, attended by volunteers. There is a memory tree in the front foyer of Whangarei Central Library. People are welcome to select a heart or star, write a message in memory of a loved one, and hang it on the tree. It's not just for those who have lost, but also for those who may be far away and in their hearts at this time. Messages can also be taken home and hung on their own tree if preferred. And this will last until the 16th of December.
That's a really beautiful sentiment. And I know that the holiday time is, quite a sentimental time. And this is just something tangible that you can do to honour your loved ones. So I think that's a great idea. And something else, the moment that all the tamariki have been waiting for, I can announce that the Great Summer Reading Challenge is happening starting next Friday, the 15th of December. So this is where children read every day during the holidays and complete some amazing fun challenges by themselves or with family and friends. And there are great prizes to be won with every challenge. So entry is free. You can enter by completing the registration form. You promise to read a certain amount of time every day during the school holidays, or the children's do. Parents can help, of course. So registration's open next Friday, 15th of December, and they close Friday, the 5th of January. So you've got to sign up before the 5th of January. And what you do is you read at home or at the beach or at a place of your choice. Keep a reading log. Ask your parents or caregivers to sign your reading card log for each book you've read, or for each book the children read, depending on who's listening. And then the children select challenges they would like to do, and the most important thing is to have fun. And
Always.
To have fun reading, have fun doing the challenges. So send the kids completed reading log and challenges to us no later than Friday the 19th of January. And always ask at the information desk if you need help with anything. But in general, we will have the challenges at the desk, but also they are online on our website. You can choose them now. I think you will eventually be able to print them off our website. Not quite yet, but soon. And so that's something very exciting for the kids this summer.
Definitely. And I would lastly like to thank 116 for allowing us to use their amazing studio and letting us use Beagle Radio.
Yeah, thank you, 116. Thank you, Beagle.
On Friday at 116, There'll be an interesting band playing called The Nukes, and this is their reunion show. It says here, way back yonder in 2008,
Way back yonder.
3 fully grown men banded together and embarked upon a perilous musical journey with no particular destination. Their mission? To write and perform original music using only the humble ukulele.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that sounds like a great event. We've also got, 116 also has an event by Springboard Youth Music, which is a gig giving young local musicians, an opportunity to perform live music in Whangarei. So that's really awesome, supporting our youth in Whangarei. The lineup consists of 5 talented up-and-coming acts, and they're performing a mix of covers and originals over a wide range of genres, so something for everyone. And that is happening on the 9th of December from 6:30 till 8 p.m, and you can get your tickets online via 116 website. So that is bound to be amazing.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Please remember to subscribe to Whangarei District Library's YouTube page, where you can find other episodes of The Shelf. Please like, subscribe, comment nicely.
Yeah, and also like and subscribe to us on Facebook and Instagram, as well as our YouTube. We're always really hoping to hear from you and love to hear from you.
And come to the library too.
Yes, do come to the library.
We'd like to close up with a song. This is an unusual find for me, but sometimes YouTube actually helps me discover wonderful music just same way the library does. If you're browsing YouTube, please remember that the crap test definitely still applies.
Yeah.
Currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. But if it's just a song, like this one, it's okay. This is by a New Zealand artist named Chris Thompson. I couldn't find much information about him online. He was a folk singer in the 70s. He might still be. I just don't know. But this song is beautiful. It's called Where Is My Wild Rose?
Thank you for listening, everyone. Ka kite and ngā mihi.
Ka kite.